I get it. We all want abs. But with obesity rates at over 42% taken back a couple years ago, even pre-COVID, which we know it's all just gotten worse, losing body fat and getting to a healthy body composition is critical to long-term health. In order to do that, we need to sort through all the myths and misinformation out there that cause yo-yo dieting and fad dieting and thinking that the easy way to do something is going to give you long-term lasting results. My name is Brent Bermudez, and I'm the owner of Nutrition First Coaching, where we help people structure their lives to get fit and get healthy and live a long, healthy life. Because I know so many of you out there are struggling to lose body fat and get to a healthy body composition and stay there, I put together a little guide that's going to help with not only debunking these myths we're about to talk about, but it's going to give you usable, actionable things to put in place once you have the knowledge and the education around the correct science behind these myths. And this is one of my main tenets with doing social media is I want to give you usable, actionable content that you can apply to your life today so that you can start to get the healthy body composition you want and live a healthy, long life. All right, let's get into the video. The first myth we're going to bust is that calories in versus calories out doesn't matter. Now, if you've thought about this at all, you know that this does matter. I'm sure it sounds like a great social media post, like all you got to do is worry about food quality and never think about how much you're eating, about the quantity of calories coming in, and you're going to lose weight, you're going to feel amazing, and have the perfect body composition. Now, there is some truth to food quality, and that's a very close second to the calories in, calories out part. And that's going to control hormones and micronutrients and fiber and vitamins and minerals and all those things, of course. But every study that's ever looked at controlling calories shows that you lose weight when calories are controlled. And essentially, when you're burning more calories than you're taking in, weight will be lost. It may be slow for some people, it may be fast for other people. It may take a while to start really happening effectively because of all the things that are hard to measure in studies like that, but every study has shown that when the calories are controlled, weight loss starts to happen. Now, the biggest thing to remember about this myth is that you have to know how many calories you are actually taking in. And this is where people stumble a lot, is they guesstimate, or I eat pretty well, I eat good, and I haven't really recorded anything. I haven't even started with like a food journal, much less weighing and measuring anything. But if you have no idea how much you're taking in, and you have no idea what you should be taking in and what your energy expenditure should be, then you really don't know if you're eating healthy or eating within what you need. But all you got to do is measure that for 5 to 7 days and start seeing, and then you can see the trend in what's been happening with your body composition, and that's going to tell you what you need to start doing in order to lose weight. Yes, this is more complicated than just calories in, calories out, but as you'll see in the next two myths, if we're following this to start with, then everything else will start to fall in place and it'll start to make a lot more sense. Myth number 2 we're going to bust today is that certain people just can't lose the weight. Now, if we look back at the first myth, then we know there's probably something going on with how much they're taking in, how many calories they're burning, and then I'm sure there's some hormonal things mixed in there that are causing the person to not lose weight. And this is where people get really frustrated and they don't really apply the right things for long enough to see that they're actually making progress and starting to lose some weight. This typical scenario is they think they're eating really healthy. They're kind of measuring things, but they're not being super accurate with every calorie that's going in. And so maybe they're eating an extra 100 or 200 calories a day they're not really considering. And they do this for 2 weeks and they're like, I've only lost a pound. Like, this isn't working. So what they might do at that point is get frustrated, and then they don't really track for a day or two, and then they try to start tracking again, and then they're not that accurate, and then a month goes by and they really haven't lost anything, and they're like, that's it, I just can't lose weight. Well, this is where we have to be really scientific about it, and this is where the help of a guide like a nutrition coach can help tremendously, because if you have somebody objectively telling you this is what you need to do, this is what's happening with your body, we're looking at different objective measurements, then we can start to see the trend going in the right direction, or we can make course corrections when necessary. But if you ask anybody that's lost significant amounts of body fat, nothing happens on a linear scale. They might lose a little, maintain a little, lose a little, maintain a little, and then things have to be changed up periodically, because a little bit smaller you that's lost 10 pounds doesn't need as much as the person that was 10 pounds heavier. So you're going to need less overall calories to continue to lose weight, but you can't just do that on a linear scale and just start diving down. So some actionable items you can have on the guide that I put along with this video is going to tell you the steps you need to do and give you time frames that'll hopefully help you be comfortable with what you're doing, so that you start to see results and you can start to make those adjustments along the way. If you want that guide, just drop me a line below. I'll get it sent over to you in Messenger. No opt-in, no nothing. Just tell me you want the guide and I'd be happy to send it over to you. Oh, myth number 3 is that carbs, especially sugars, are going to make you fat. And anytime I see one macronutrient getting tossed aside or demonized for something, it's usually a marketing thing, and it's usually down to maybe the biggest marketing scheme back in the 80s and 90s was that fat was the devil, fat was the enemy, nothing should have fat in it, the low-fat craze kicked in. And what did they have to do to make things taste decent? Well, they had to add a bunch of sugar to things, and that became 80 different kinds of sugar, between high fructose corn syrup to you name it, any kind of cane sugar, molasses, dextrin, all the things that get added to make it sweeter, to make it taste better. Well, a little side note to that is now they have to put the added amount of sugars on the label. So you'll see that in the carb section, like natural sugars, and it'll just say carbohydrates, sugar, and then it'll say added sugars at the bottom. So that can give you a little heads up on that. But it's not the sugars that are making you fat. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with a lot of added, refined, simple sugars. But if we're strictly looking at body composition, that's not necessarily what's making you fat. What is making you fat is having too many calories, and you store calories and you start to gain body fat, just like we talked about in the first myth. Yes, there's a lot of hormonal factors at play, and yes, food quality is very, very important. You'll never hear me not say that. But multiple studies, dozens of studies have shown that if things are controlled, people can be on a high carb, low fat diet, or they can be on a high fat, low carb diet, or anything in between, and the body composition can change to whatever they're trying to address. If they put you into a deficit, you start losing calories. If they put you into a surplus, you start gaining body fat. So there's going to be losing body fat and then gaining body fat. So it's not that the sugar is terrible in terms of gaining body fat. Yeah, it causes a lot of issues, metabolic disease and damage and diabetes and you name it. But it's really the calories in and the calories out. So what to take away from this is, yeah, eat good food quality, but you have to know how much you're getting. You have to know what your calorie budget is, and always look at it as a budget. And within that budget, you have to know what the different macronutrients are you're getting, so that you can start to see how that's affecting your body composition. I have this all laid out in a simple guide, give you some actionable, usable things to do in each of these areas. And that way you have something to take away with you, which is one of my major goals with all my content. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing. If you think somebody else is struggling with these myths and we need to educate other people so we can get the truth out there, forward on this video. I really appreciate it, and have a great day.